Weirdos, weirdos, we're a bunch of weirdos. Let's talk about American Gothic, a weird movie from 1988, directed by John Hough, who did The Incubus and The Legend of Hell House. This movie is about a group of friends who go on vacation. They're on their way to an island, traveling by seaplane, and then they have engine troubles. They crash land, and now they're stuck on this island where only this crazy family lives. No one else is there, just this crazy, eccentric family that thinks it's the 1920s still, and they're very hyper religious and psychopathic. This was my second time watch, and when I watched it for the first time last year, it was for my 1988 ranking, and I believe it was my number 10. And watching it this time, my thoughts on it have gone down a little bit, just a little bit. I didn't enjoy it as much on rewatch, but I've heard other people say that it goes up on rewatch. So everyone's opinions can change in different ways. Some people like movies more the more they watch it. For me, with this movie, the more I watch it so far, the less I like it because of two big things. So let's jump right into the negatives. And this was my issue the last time too. This movie just needs better kills. There is too much off camera. It feels very censored, or maybe they shot it this way on purpose, but it is just too much censored. Cutaways, like the first kill is the best, and it has no blood, but it's just ridiculous that you laugh at it. But the other kills, they could have been way better. You got people getting stabbed in the eye and knitting needle kills, but nothing is really on camera, and it just needed more gore. And the other thing that hurt this movie is its protagonists, the main friends. They're not really developed at all. It's mainly just about the main chick, Cynthia. She's the only one with any character depth and story. The others are just cannon fodder, and they're assholes. They're just really terrible people. The guy who gets killed first is actually the only one who's semi-likable, because he's kind of funny, but everyone else is just, they're pieces of shit. They're bitches. Like, they're talking shit about this family before they ever do anything to warrant that. Like, they're not acting malicious and they're not doing anything to these people, but they're just acting like major assholes. They're making fun of their way of living. They're smoking at the dinner table. Like, that's a dick move. Like, they're just really horrible people. And one of them just stays behind, and you forget about his character existing until he just shows up dead. And you're like, oh yeah, that guy. Forgot about him. Like, these protagonists are forgettable and unlikable. And some of the acting from the protagonists is a bit weak at times. And I would have liked more of an exploration of this crazy family, like how they survive on this island, because they're just there by themselves. They don't have a farm or anything. You do see that Pa is going out hunting, but at some point, this small island's going to run out of animals for you to hunt. Like, how big is the island? We never really get a wide shot, like above, you know, to establish how big this island is, and like how are they living on this island for so long, and who are these kids really? Are they their kids, or people that they brainwashed into believing that they were their kids? And lastly, I just thought the movie was a bit boring in the first act. It could have been more exciting. Maybe open up the movie with a kill from the family. Who knows? But we just start with these unlikable characters who are assholes, and therefore I'm just not as into it. So this movie just needed way better characters. But getting into my positives is I really like the crazy family. I thought they gave the best performances. They're very wacky and a little over the top at times. You got the guy Michael J. Pollard from Sleepaway Camp 3 in this, and he's just very funny. And you got Rod Steiger, and even the woman who plays Ma, she's pretty good. Like, they gave the best performances, and they're more likable and enjoyable on screen than the protagonists, who are just very thin, one note, and not likable. And I like the island setting, the isolation, the trapped feeling. Like, they're fucked. They got no way out of this place. And I think the movie's pretty creepy at times too. And there's a mummified looking baby that's just really disturbing looking. I like that this is a horror movie where the final girl is nuttier than the villains. Like the way they set up her character, she's leaving like an institution at the beginning, and they're taking her on this vacation to ease her mind and show her a good time, make her forget about what happened to her before. And then this crazy shit happens and she like snaps and she's crazier than the bad guys are in this. So I thought that was fresh and cool. And I like how the opening ties into the end. And I liked the creepy, odd tone of the movie, some of the dark humor, and the unsettling score. So final thoughts, this is like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre set on an island with a great cast of psychos and some creepy moments, but just needed more gore and a better likable cast of protagonists. So when it comes to American Gothic, I'm not as high on it as I used to be, but I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Alright, time for a spoiler discussion. So Cynthia, our main final girl here, we find out that the reason why she was at this institution, the reason why she went a little crazy, is because she had a baby that drowned. She had like a 1-year-old in a bathtub that she was bathing, and then the phone rang, and then she just went downstairs like, you stay right there, baby. I trust you to not fall back. Like, horrible mother. Just goes downstairs to have a conversation on the phone with her husband while the TV's on and like there's food cooking. So she's doing like all these other things at the same time. She's multitasking, and meanwhile her like 1-year-old son is drowning because of her. And then later on, when they get to the island, at first one of her friends hits her head on a rock, which was pretty effective how that done. Like I was like, oh shit. And she like falls in the water, passed out, about to drown, and she just has like this moment of like PTSD. It's like reminding her of what happened to her kid, so she's not helping out her friend who's drowning. She just like lets her drown, and the other friend has to come in and save her. Like, what the hell are you doing just standing there? So this just shows us that she hasn't recovered. She's not still there mentally, and kind of foreshadows her snap later on when she kind of just accepts her role in the family and joins them rather quickly. So when they get to the house, they just quickly start acting like it's a playhouse for them without really confirming whether or not anyone lives there. They're just kind of exploring the bottom level. Like someone clearly lives there. Like the place isn't like filled with cobwebs. It's not so dilapidated that it's like, okay, no one lives here, but it's like filled with clothes and shit. And they just start taking everything out. They're playing records. They're like, oh wow, this place is like from the 1920s, and let's just have fun and wreck the place. So like they're horrible. And then they're like talking shit about everyone behind their back. Like the one girl, Lynn, the biggest bitch of them all, is like, man, did you see that one girl, Fanny? Like, her face is so ugly. She's repulsive. And meanwhile, Fanny can hear everything she's saying. And they're just so unapologetic, except for the one dude, Jeff, who's Cynthia's like husband or boyfriend. They never really say. It's not quite clear. But he's a piece of shit too. Because when they get to the house, he quickly forgets that his girlfriend or wife even exists. Ma and Pa are like, so is this all of you? And he's like, yeah, that's all of us. And then one of his friends has to be like, well, Cynthia's here too. He's like, oh yeah, Cynthia. The reason why we're here. The whole vacation was for Cynthia, to make her feel better. And he forgot that she existed. Your girlfriend or wife? Like, really? Fuck this dude. He's too busy hanging out with all these other people. Meanwhile, his crazy girlfriend is off on her own. Like, he's not trying to keep tabs on her. Like, where does she go? You should keep an eye out on her. And so, yeah, you automatically don't like Jeff, the dick boyfriend. You don't like any of these characters. And then we get introduced to Fanny, this woman who's clearly like 45, 50 years old. And she's like, I'm turning 12. And I wonder if she means like that's her 12th year on the island, or has she been on the island her entire life? I don't know. They never really explain. the history of these characters on this island. Have they been there their whole lives? Are they really their children? Or are they kidnapped and then just brainwashed into thinking, like, at some point they just kind of snap and start believing that they're their children? I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous. So the first kill of the movie is Rob, who gets on this swing that's standing at the edge of a cliff. And they just keep pushing him higher and higher. He's like, I want to get off. And Woody just takes a hatchet and cuts the rope, and he just goes flying off the cliff. And then later on, they play it off like an accident, like, oh, Rob shouldn't have been on that swing set. Mom and Pop always tell us never to go on it. It's right in front of that cliff. It's dangerous. So then the second death is Lynn, the big bitch. She is like, again, talking shit to their faces this time, like, you're just a bunch of weirdos. And then they just start singing, weirdos, we're a bunch of weirdos. And they wrap her up with a jump rope and then kill her off camera. They hang her from a tree. Like, I would have liked to see her die on camera because of how much of a bitch she was. And so Fanny, I guess, has been banging her brothers, and I'm not sure if they're really her biological brothers, so there's some incest going on here. Maybe that baby is her baby. Maybe it was an incest baby that died at birth. That'd be pretty fucked up, and she's just keeping it. Or maybe it's a baby that belonged to a different family that arrived there on accident and got killed by them. Who knows? We don't really know whose baby that is. Then Fanny kind of has a love fascination with Jeff. She's jealous of Jeff and Cynthia, so she just walks in, takes like this toy that has like this sharp thing on it, and then just shoves it right in Jeff's eye and kills him. Like, she just said a minute ago, like, I love Jeff. I want Jeff now. And then she kills him. So I guess what she really meant was, I want Jeff as a dolly, because that's what she calls all the dead bodies in the basement. They're human dollies for her to play with. So that's what she meant. She wants Jeff not for sex, like you thought. She wants Jeff as a dolly. So that's why she just goes in there and kills him instantly. Then Woody is pretend shooting Cynthia and her friend Terry with those guns that have like those things in it that like snap and they like have smoke come off of it. Like, I used to have those growing up, those toy guns. They're like firecrackers basically. So yeah, that was a pretty funny moment, just seeing him like shoot them dressed up like a cowboy. This movie gets pretty crazy and dark because Terry ends up getting her neck snapped by Teddy, the other brother, very big fellow. Just snaps her neck and then goes to rape her when she's dead. And Woody, the brother, he tells on him. He's like, I'm telling, because they're a very religious family, and I don't think they are very tolerant of rape, but they're very tolerant of murder if they think that you're wicked. I did like that the blonde friend, Terry, was smart enough to assume that there was a trap set up when they're going to the boat. She goes like, tell the other two to come out. I know they're hiding behind the boat. And they were. So I thought, all right, she's smart. But then she ends up dying like a minute later. And Paul, this character you completely forgot about, is just dead in the boat with an axe in his face. They left one friend behind while they all went to the house and spent the night there. Meanwhile, Paul's just been chilling at the boat for over 24 hours by himself. And then the next time they see him, he's just dead with an axe in his face. Like, poor Paul, his character got nothing to do in this movie. So at this point in the movie, after Terry gets her neck snapped, this is when Cynthia snaps and just becomes another member of the family and starts dressing up like Fanny and thinks that the dead baby is her baby that she lost. And dude, Paul is such a hypocrite. He's like, watch your language to the other people, and like, don't say Jesus Christ and take the Lord's name in vain. But then in one moment when he's talking to Teddy, he says something, goddamn. He's like, you're already so goddamn big. It's like, watch your mouth. Then we get a pretty creepy scene where they take Cynthia down into the basement to show her a surprise gift. And it's all her dead friends just hanging from the ceiling. And all these other bodies that are rotting, clearly dead for over a year. Like, they've done this before many times. and she refers to them as her dollies. And then when they're playing with the dead baby upstairs, that's when she snaps. She sees the dead baby, thinks it's her baby, and then kills Fanny with the bucket, and hits her over the head a bunch, and then takes that same toy from earlier used on Jeff and stabs Woody in the ear. And then in the middle of her rampage, she just steals a cookie out of the cookie jar like a little kid, and then kills Teddy with a sickle to the neck, and then stabs Ma with her own knitting needles and her shoulder and other shoulders. Would that really kill you? Maybe. I don't know. And then Pa comes home and sees his whole family butchered, and Cynthia's playing dead on the bed. And he goes outside and he renounces God, loses all his faith, and goes, "I'm giving my soul over to Satan." And then right in that moment is when Cynthia takes his gun and shoots him. I thought that was hilarious that he died as soon as he gave his soul over to Satan. Screw you, God, you took away my family. It's like the book of Job. And so then, yeah, that's the end of the movie. She just stays at the house like it's hers now, and she's just hanging out with the dead baby. And the very end shot has bars, making it look like she's kind of imprisoned there, mirroring the opening shot. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that's the end of the movie. So what are your thoughts on American Gothic? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.